Hello, my friend. Today I'm going to make a very quick video, hopefully helping beginner artists out there. So I'm going to list a few mistakes that I made in my art career that I wish I didn't make, and I wish I received guidance when I was young. So I hope you take it to heart. One of the things that I must mention is that the decisions we make and the outcomes we receive um, come from our mindset and how we perceive the world. This means that, let's say, the same event would have different results depending on the artist or the person. So, a common mistake, number one, is trying to get into a vanity gallery. Basically, you're approached by a gallery that says they can exhibit your work for some money. And you pay your money, you might have an exhibition, but chances are you won't have any sales because it's a vanity gallery. It doesn't have the collector's base necessary to make the sales and so on. So don't participate in events where you're asked to pay to display your art. Okay, mistake number two, don't pay for features in the magazines. I must tell you that most of the times I didn't pay for magazine publications. My art was published or taken, to be published. There were a few instances way in the back when I think I paid like for 2 or 3 publications at the most. But the thing is, usually it doesn't bring any art collectors or sales, so don't do it. Unless you publish in one specific magazine that has the collector base, and you have to do it like 7 or 10 times to be on the mind of those people, then it might work. But if you have the money to pay for, let's say, a one-time thing, you might have a chance that you get a sale, and that would be great. But usually you have to repeat your publications many times over, and I think it just, the results don't justify the cost of doing that. Mistake number three is getting into the jewelry shows and actually shipping your art to the venue and back. Usually it's the artist who takes the cost, the shipping cost. For instance, I recently shipped my work to a college in Wyoming, and it was $100. The cost was $100 to the venue, and then it would be another 100 to get it back. Why would you do it? I guess if you want to get exposure when you're young, I don't know, you might do it if you have the money, but I find it quite expensive. And by the way, what usually happens is that I have to basically beg to send my art back to me, paying for my own shipping. Uh, People end up being very irresponsible. They don't take the effort, the time to communicate with the artist on time. Today I've been like, I was thinking about all my shipments to different colleges and galleries, and I came to the conclusion that I'm not going to do it anymore unless I know the association or the institution very well, where it's well run, so I don't have to struggle begging for my art to be returned to me. You know, one of the most outrageous examples I can give you is that I was juried into the show in a contemporary art museum. I sent my art. It was right after COVID, so I sent my art. And when it was time, and again, it was my expense to send it, which was like close to 100 for a big painting. And then when I was trying to get it back, I wasn't receiving a reply. But when I received a reply, then it was a struggle to ask that person to use my label to ship it back to me. I exchanged several emails, and finally it was shipped back to me. And you know, the most outrageous part about that one was when I received my painting, I realized it wasn't even open, which means that they didn't even put up a show. They just made it look like it was a show. And that was just incredible, you know. Another time I shipped my art to the gallery, you know, to the jury show. And you know, it's not always the fact that you get juried into the show. So I sent it, and when it was time to get it back, I basically exchanged emails with the responsible person once again. And the woman was very rude to me. I couldn't understand why she couldn't ship my work back, you know. And then, you know, after a while, I found out that my painting was returned to them for some reason. I don't know why it happened. But anyway, that woman was very upset and she was rude to me. And then I had no choice, but I wrote to the gallery's director asking for my work back. And, you know, I found out that my painting was submerged in water during the shipping or after it, or I don't know when. I was lucky to receive it back. But these are just examples from my life, and I think it's just not worth the cost. It's not worth your worry and emotional pain that it causes. One more example, I sent my art to a museum, and you know, it's been over a year, and you might think that they might call or email you because they got all the information about my art with all my, you know, personal information. And no, there is nothing coming from the museum. So actually, I messaged them on Instagram. They ignored it. I emailed the curator, and I'm still, you know, waiting for an answer. And that's how things are. So the only, I would say, the only really good art show that I participated in that actually returned my art without me asking for it, you know, is the Colored Pencil Society of America. Okay, and one more mistake that cost me dearly as an artist. Please try to understand this. It's very important to connect to people. I had a very hard time during my lifetime to be with people, to talk to them, you know, to be at the parties and stuff. But I think it's super important to connect with gallery owners, you know, with other artists and professionals in the fields to get your foot in the door. I could never make myself do it because of various reasons, and you know, all of them are in my head. They are connected to my upbringing, how I perceive the world, how I came to the US and things like that. But if you don't struggle with communication skills, if you are good at connecting to people, use your skills to advance your career. This is the best way forward. It's not about getting some publications or mounting your shows. It's about knowing the right people to get into the right circles, to receive opportunities that you want. Okay, and if you don't know what you want, you need to make a list of things what you actually want as your goals, your career goals, because otherwise you're just swimming in the ocean of events, people, and you don't know where to get up, introduce yourself, and make a connection. It's all about making genuine connections. It's not about being, arrogant or pushy or anything like that. It's about being open and loving and, enjoying the opportunity of meeting people. And, don't be afraid to explore it, to explore yourself, new opportunities, new places, new things in your life. One more thing about college education. You don't have to go to college to become a good artist, but you do need to have perseverance, goals, and desire to educate yourself in other ways possible to achieve the results that you want. Okay, as an artist, you want to build confidence in yourself and how you present your work. If you're like me and can say much about your art when you are in a public space, people will lose interest. It's obvious. So if you struggle with that part of your life, you have to pay attention to that and try, to change that. If there is something else like not making it on time, I think it's also important to look at yourself from a different point of view and say, learn, to be on time, to come to the meetings on time, and be responsible for your own actions. Or let's say if you promise something and cannot deliver, and it's your habit, work on that part of your life. Try to understand why you cannot meet the deadlines and work on that. And also try to learn from people or artists who are a little bit ahead of you. Try to be in their circle because that's how you learn. If you stay at the same place with the same people, doing the same things forever and ever, there is no progress. So how do you progress? You actually want to get out of your comfort zone, get out of your circle, and move into a different circle and learn something about art, presentation, or whatever else. And that's how you grow. You grow as a person, your art changes, and I think it's a positive experience overall. I hope this information is helpful to you as an artist. You take it to your heart, you think about it, As I've said, we are all different and we see life and we approach life events very differently. Let me know if you have any questions or share your experiences in the comments below this video. And I hope I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.